December 1863. America is torn apart by civil war. Thousands dead. The Union is desperate for morale, so they deploy a weapon, a propaganda tool so powerful it will reshape American culture forever. Harper's Weekly publishes an illustration. Santa Claus, dressed in stars and stripes, visiting Union soldiers. And in the corner of the image, almost hidden, Santa is strangling a Jefferson Davis puppet. Santa Claus was weaponized, and this is just one chapter in the most successful rebranding in human history. Everything you know about Santa Claus is a 700-year game of cultural telephone. Tonight, I'm going to show you how a 4th century bishop became a child terrorizing judge, then a Civil War propaganda tool, and finally a corporate mascot. And the wildest part, almost none of the famous stories are true. I'm Patrick, and this is Gospel Say, where we investigate the stories behind the stories. Today, St. Nicholas of Myra, the man who became Santa Claus. But here's what nobody tells you. 1. The famous story about him punching a heretic at the Council of Nicaea. Not in any historical record. Complete legend. 2. The medieval version of Santa traveled with a helper who carried a birch rod to beat children and a sack to kidnap them. 3. The jolly red suit was designed as Union propaganda during America's bloodiest war. 3 questions will guide us. Who was the real Nicholas? How did he become a weapon of fear? And how did fear become joy? Let's start with what we actually know. The real Nicholas. Nicholas of Myra. Born around 270 AD in Patara, modern-day Turkey. We know he existed. His tomb in Myra became a major pilgrimage site. We know he was Bishop of Myra in the early 4th century. And we know he died around 343 AD. That's the documented history. Everything else is layers of legend built over 1,100 years. The most famous story, told in the 10th century Vita per Michaelum, written 700 years after Nicholas died, involves secret gift-giving. A poor man has 3 daughters, no dowries. Nicholas allegedly throws bags of gold through their window at night, landing in stockings by the fire. The father catches him. Nicholas begs for secrecy. That's the origin of Christmas stockings. But notice, this story was written 7 centuries after his death. We can't verify it. What we can verify is that by the medieval period, Nicholas had become wildly popular, especially with sailors, children, and yes, even merchants and pawnbrokers who dealt in, let's say, creative redistribution of wealth. Some modern writers call him the patron saint of thieves. That's an exaggeration. He was officially patron of children and sailors, but medieval guild records show his image in places that suggest a complex relationship with wealth and property. But here's where the story gets darker, because for centuries Nicholas wasn't jolly, he was terrifying. The legend of the punch. Let me tell you about the most famous story that never happened. In 325 AD, Emperor Constantine calls the Council of Nicaea to settle a theological crisis. Is Jesus equal to God, or is he a created being? A priest named Arius argues Jesus was created. Half the church agrees, the other half calls it heresy. According to legend, and I want to be crystal clear, this is legend, Bishop Nicholas of Myra listens to Arius's arguments, snaps, walks across the room, and punches him in the face. He's arrested, stripped of his robes, thrown in prison. Christ and Mary appear in a vision, return his vestments, and he's released. That story, it's not in any historical record of the council, not in the writings of church historians Eusebius, Socrates Scholasticus, or Sozomen, who documented Nicaea. The punch first appears in hagiographies, religious biographies, written 600 to 700 years later. So why do Orthodox churches have icons showing Nicholas striking Arius? Because by the medieval period, the story served a purpose. It showed that defending Christian orthodoxy was worth any cost, even violence. The legend wasn't about history, it was about identity. But while the punch is myth, what happened next is absolutely, horrifyingly real. The dark Sinterklaas. For over 1,000 years, St. Nicholas wasn't Santa, he was Sinterklaas, a tall, stern, bishop-like figure who judged children. And he had a helper, Zwarte Piet, Black Pete. According to Dutch tradition, Pete came from Spain, his face darkened by soot from chimneys. But here's what matters. Pete carried 2 things, a birch rod called a roe for spanking naughty children, and a burlap sack to kidnap really bad children and take them back to Spain. This wasn't a jolly gift giver. This was psychological warfare. Dutch children feared Sinterklaas as much as they hoped for his gifts. He kept a book recording every sin, every lie, every moment of disobedience. And on December 6th, his feast day, judgment came. Parents used this fear to control children year-round. Be good or Zwarte Piet will beat you with the roe. Be very bad and you'll disappear in the sack. This is the Santa Claus tradition that Dutch settlers brought to America in the 1600s. Stern, judgmental, violent. Then came the Civil War and everything changed. The year is 1863. America is in its bloodiest year. The Union needs morale, propaganda, hope. So political cartoonist Thomas Nast, working for Harper's Weekly, does something brilliant and disturbing. He draws Santa Claus, not as a Dutch bishop, but as a jolly, round man in stars and stripes, visiting Union soldiers in camp. The soldiers are smiling. They're reading letters from home. Santa's delivering gifts. It's heartwarming, until you look closer. In the corner of the image, hanging from Santa's sleigh, is a puppet, and Santa's hand is around its neck, strangling it. The puppet is labeled Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederacy. Santa Claus, the beloved gift giver, is literally choking the enemy. This is propaganda, pure, brilliant psychological warfare. Nast is telling Union families, Santa supports your side, God supports your side, even Christmas supports your side. And your enemies, they deserve to be strangled. Over the next 20 years, Nast refines the image. He makes Santa round, adds the North Pole workshop, the naughty and nice list, the reindeer. By the 1880s, the stern Dutch bishop is gone. Santa is American. He's jolly. He's safe. Then corporations discover him. Santa the product. The final transformation begins in 1931. Coca-Cola hires artist Haddon Sundblom to create a Santa for their Christmas campaign. Now let's be clear. Coca-Cola didn't invent the red and white suit that already existed in various forms. What Sundblom did was make Santa human. He used a real model, Lou Prentice, a retired salesman. He painted Santa with realistic skin tones, genuine smiles, twinkling eyes. Not a stern judge, not a propaganda tool, your favorite grandfather. The campaign goes global. That image, Sundblom's warm Coca-Cola Santa, becomes the default in almost every culture on Earth. One man, four completely different identities, from Christian saint defending orthodoxy, to Dutch judge terrorizing children, to American war propaganda, to global corporate icon selling soda and toys. So what's the truth about Santa Claus? Here's what we know for certain. Nicholas of Myra existed. He was a bishop. He was generous. His tomb became a pilgrimage site. Everything else, the punch, the secret gold, the miracles, comes from stories written centuries after his death. But here's what fascinates me. Each generation remade Nicholas into what they needed. Medieval Christians needed a stern moral judge. Civil War America needed a patriotic symbol. Modern corporations needed a friendly mascot. We don't preserve our heroes, we reshape them. And that raises the question that haunts every video on this channel. If we can transform a 4th century bishop into a jolly elf who breaks into your house, what other historical figures have we completely rewritten? What other uncomfortable truths have been quietly erased? Next time on Gospel Say, the Gospel of Judas. For 2,000 years, Judas Iscariot was history's ultimate traitor. Then in 2006, archaeologists discovered a lost gospel that tells a completely different story. Was Judas following Jesus' direct orders? We're investigating the most controversial manuscript in Christian history. Subscribe now. Comment below. Does knowing the real history change Christmas for you? Or is the myth more important than the man? I'm Patrick. Keep questioning.